All right. That better not get into the video and cause me to get a, what's it called? Copyright claim. That's what I'm thinking of. Couldn't think of copyright claim. All right, guys, so we're going to do something a little different today. I'm testing something. So for those of you that are at your desktop, and even if you're not at your desktop, you can still do this from your phone. And for those of you who are watching the replay, this will be good information for you for next week's live. But I'm going to start testing out hosting a Zoom call during the live. And basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the link inside the chat for the live call. So that way people can join. Let me go ahead and get that copied. I'm not going to do that just yet. Do you guys think this is a good idea? I'd love to see what your thoughts are in the chat, though, about doing this. But that's the idea. I'm going to give you guys the link to a Zoom call. That way you guys can talk to me. We don't actually have to do, text to discuss things, which will make communication, hopefully, a lot clearer, which means a better experience for you guys. And a better experience for me overall, because it makes it easier for me to answer questions for you guys. But what do you guys think? Do you think that's a good idea? Like, doing the Zoom call and letting you guys get on. If you think it's a good idea, say yes in the chat box, or hit the thumbs up, or do both. I would love it if you would do both. Hit the thumbs up right below the video. That way other people just like you can get notified that we're going live, and we can have a stimulating discussion on digital marketing. And if you're just hopping in, do me a favor and tell me a little bit about yourself, either your agency or yourself. It can be how long you've been running your agency, whether you've just started or not. It can be all kinds of different things. So what we're going to do is we're going to wait just a minute, because we usually start at about 7:30, so we got a couple minutes, and then I'm going to post the link inside of the chat. Actually, I'm just going to go ahead and do that now. So that is the link to the Zoom call. You guys can feel free to click that link and join the call. Let me make sure. Crap. Participants. Maybe I can do it from here. No? Well, there we go. There we go. Yes. Mute all as you come in. And what we'll do is you guys will just put something in the chat. When you have a question, you'll just literally type the word question in, and I'll just go through in order, and then you can get on the mic and talk to me. So I think this will be a cool way to do a live call, or at least a live Q&A, because again, it allows me to sit here and be able to talk to you guys. And hopefully everybody can respect or be respectful, because some people like to come in sometimes and cause a ruckus on lives, which, we like to have fun, but at the same time, any disrespectful people will be removed. But you guys go ahead and jump in. I put the link inside the chat. I'll throw it in there again if you didn't see it before. But there's the link for the Zoom call. You can go ahead and hop in right there. And again, this is a free call. You don't have to pay anything. You're just hopping in and chatting with me on a mic instead of using text. But again, tell me a little bit about yourself. Tell me your name, where you're from, your agency name, how long you've been in business, or how long your agency's been going on. Developing, getting some knowledge. Recently got a kidney transplant, so I have more time to learn. I want to say that's a good thing. It's obviously not a good thing having a kidney transplant, but the time to spend learning and preparing for when you're, completely ready to go again is a good thing, obviously. So again, where are you guys from? I'm curious to know. We've got one. I wonder if I can turn the ding off. More. Mute participants on entry. Play chime. No. No, don't do that. It was already off. That's weird. All right. What's going on, JC? Your mic's actually off, just so you know. You got to unmute yourself. Yeah, you guys come in unmuted or muted, so that way we don't cause any disturbance when we have like 20 people who jump in. But yeah, all you have to do is unmute your mic. You can click on that if you want to talk, which is totally fine for right now because I'm kind of testing this, so not 100% sure how this is going to work. You're walking around after a kidney transplant? How long ago was that? Your mic's still off, just so you know. Okay. I was about to say, I wish I could hear. Sinoj, what's going on, man? Again, there's the link for everybody who wants to join the live chat.
There we go.
Oh, hi. How's it going?
Got a transplant about a month ago. Been procrastinating for about a year, but I am serious about developing an agency as part of some of my projects I'm working on.
Okay.
So I'm just trying to get it in, man. And I appreciate all the training that you provide us. And I'm going to go back to mute.
Well, hey, I'm happy I'm able to do it for you guys. And again, guys, what you're seeing right now is I am hosting a Zoom call. So you guys are more than welcome to jump in the Zoom call. I've posted the link in the chat. I'm pretty much going to, I don't know if you guys, can you guys see the chat like from when you previously, like before, that happened before you joined? I'm not sure if you can see that or not. Let me go on YouTube. Guess I can check it myself, huh? Joshua, what's going on, man? Your mic's off, just so you know. Okay, he's probably getting it ready. And again, guys, we're going to start doing this for a little bit to see how it goes, because I've never done something like this before. Oh, yeah, you guys can see all the chats. So, yeah, make sure to join that link. Click over to that link if you guys are using Zoom. So that way, obviously, you can take part in some of the fun. Your mic's off, just so you know. Okay, he's probably getting ready. I was like, who's talking? It was me. My video wasn't going. All right, guys. So we're going to go ahead and get started with some questions. So what I'm actually going to do is the people that are in the group chat, if they have questions, I'm going to answer those first. That's kind of the benefit if you want to get your questions answered first or just in general. Not that I'm not going to answer questions in the chat over here on YouTube as well, but it's kind of the benefit of joining the live call. So JC, if you have a question, you're more than welcome to turn on your mic and ask that question now. But until then, I'm going to go ahead and jump back over to the chat on YouTube. So if you have a question, go ahead, unmute your mic, and take it away. Christian Simon, I'm just getting my digital marketing agency off the ground. I have 15 years prior marketing experience from both print and web, as well as a great deal of sales experience. So Christian, what have you done with, that's great that you have web experience, you have print, so you have general marketing experience, which is super awesome. What do you know about SEO, pay-per-click, content marketing, things of that nature? What's going on, Chawwell? I wonder if you can hear me. JC, your video feed cut out earlier, but I don't know if you heard me. If you do have a question, you can feel free to go ahead and unmute your mic and ask me that question now. I don't know if you heard that earlier, but I saw the video feed cut out. But yeah, Christian, where are you at as far as learning SEO, content marketing, ad management, as far as media spends, online, stuff like that? How much do you think the coronavirus is going to affect the SMMA business? I mean, the benefit is, if anything, you could actually, I had someone reach out to me about this today. If you haven't noticed, Zoom, for example, the video software we're on right now, the stock actually just shot up because of the coronavirus. A bunch of companies started telling people, you know, you're going to go work from home. We don't want to get everybody sick. And so they bought massive Zoom accounts for all of their employees. So if anything, and basically I say that to get to the fact that my buddy hit me up today and he's like, you should start like trying to sell webinars for like businesses that might require it, which is a good idea. It's a whole other thing that I don't really want to devote a bunch of time to, because that's what it, like, that's the thing. People don't realize, like, I don't know, I guess when you're not running a business, because he's currently not used to, but like you can't just pick up a new product and just like run with it the next day. That's not how business works. It takes a lot of time to build a product offering and do it the right way. And it can't just be slung together and then you get a good result. El Chalwell, if you have a question as well, feel free to go ahead and unmute your mic. I'm going to guess JC is going to take a minute to probably think of something. So if you have a question, feel free to unmute your mic and you can go ahead and ask that now. Should be at the bottom of your screen, bottom left corner.
I'm good, Jordan. I'm not going to disrupt class.
No, that's the point. So this is a Q&A. You know, people
I have a real good question, but
okay.
I'm going to soak it in.
Okay.
Get my walk in. Walking's good for me. And let's get back to class, man.
I hear
Time
you.
is money.
I hear you. Chalwell, did you have a question that you wanted to go with?
Lou, yeah. Hey, thanks for doing this again. I really appreciate all the content that you've been putting out so far.
Not a problem.
Just wanted to, I guess, ask the average amount of time for, I guess, someone to, I guess, like get their business sustainable, doing like maybe $2,000 to $3,000, $4,000 a month, from zero experience, once starting. Like, what's the average amount of time it takes to get to like those kind of numbers?
It's a good question. And it's a question that it kind of, what was that?
Given all things being equal, a certain amount of work
Sure.
put in weekly.
Sure. And again, that's a good question. The reason why is because, it's actually the reason why we created my new program, the Done With You Agency. The reason why is because what I actually found out was people who were coming in brand new, no experience whatsoever, it was taking them on average 6 to 12 months to get to the point where they were steadily making $8,000 to $10,000 a month, which is that $100,000 mark, right? So I started to look at why people were having this issue. What was taking people so long? Why was it? What was hindering them from getting to the point where they wanted to go faster, essentially? And so what I looked at was a lot of people didn't understand really a few things. Number one, process management and operations, which is probably, in my opinion, now that I'm more experienced in doing it myself as well, the most important aspect to running your agency, because it is what sets up all of the campaigns. It's the foundation of building your campaigns. And without it, you're going to struggle. So you'll land a client, you'll bring them in, you realize I don't have any step-by-step instructions, which really is what is needed. Which leads into the next part. So my VAs all suck. That's another thing that people, constantly say, my VAs are terrible. I can never get people to do the job that I want. And it's because of the fact, that they didn't have processes or operations in place that told those VAs exactly what you're looking for. One of the best examples I can give is a lot of people will go to a web developer. They'll go on Upwork, they'll hire a web developer, and they'll tell the web developer, here's like the competitor's website. I want my clients to look like this, but with our colors, our logo, our content. And even though that can be done, you're still leaving a lot left unknown. So if you haven't seen what a sitemap looks like, that is basically the architecture for a website. And so most people, when they go to a web developer, they're not turning over a sitemap to them. They're not handing over a wireframe to them. And so they get the website back and they're like, this looks nothing like what I wanted. It doesn't have any of the pages I wanted. It has our logo on it and our colors, but that's really it. So, the biggest reasons why people take so long to really get to where they want to be with their agency is because they don't have the processes. They don't know how to hire and train their team to do the jobs that they want. They can't keep customers because of those first two reasons, right? Because if you don't have a good team and you don't have processes, you're not going to make your clients happy. And so people go through the first 6 to 12 months figuring all that stuff out. And that's probably the hardest thing to figure out in the sales part. People, they talk about how sales are so hard and getting clients. It's really not. if you know a specific structure and system to follow, the client part is easy. Delivering the results is the hardest part. And so, that's why, from my experience and what I've seen, it's usually 6 to 12 months that people take to get to that $8,000 to $12,000 mark, or 10,000. And again, that's why we started Done With You Agency, is because like the point of that program is we copy and paste all of our operational workflows over to your project management software. So you're kicking up and you're going immediately. So that's really the biggest difference in why we started that program. So now we're able to get to people and get them to a point where they can reach that milestone in 4 to 6 months instead of 6 to 12. So it's really cool. And that, again, that's a great question, because a lot of people don't really consider what is required to build a business. And it's not even that they don't consider, it's that you don't know. You don't know what to consider until you actually start doing it. So, that's really the hardest thing, I think, in my opinion, or the biggest factor as to why people take so long. But the answer to your question is 6 to 12 months. But I think it's good to know some context as to why it takes people that long. Because unless you know, so now at least I hope you can take that information and go look at that and say, okay, well, Jordan says it's all of this. And that's really the biggest thing I want you to get, though, is your operations are probably the most important thing. But last year alone, me and my team spent around 150 grand and around 1,000 labor hours putting together all of these processes for every aspect of the agency. So that gives you an idea, and that's why this program has been so beneficial so far, and people come in and they love it, is because of the fact that we give them all of that stuff. We just copy paste it, and now they can go out and get clients and feel comfortable providing campaigns for those clients. So, but that's a very good question.
Yeah, I appreciate the answer. And I've kind of been going through, I guess, some of what you mentioned, but not so far in relation to the social media aspect of it, because I've been doing web design primarily and some branding. I have yet to officially launch my business, although I have everything registered. I've come to realize, like, pretty much what you're saying, like having all those that infrastructure in place is kind of key to when things start rolling, to actually have it just, go through step by step without too many missteps.
Right. Right.
So for me right now, all the social media stuff and all the SEO, very new to me. No idea really where to start with that, but I'm definitely aware, and I appreciate the advice of, kind of doing the same thing that I've been doing, putting together those processes and making sure that like you said, the operations and everything are in place, and especially more specifically so for when people need to come on board,
right?
Whether it be clients or people that I'm working with.
Right.
So thank you. Yeah.
Sure. And one thing I would tell you is this: here you said web design, right? And content marketing. So what I would probably do, and do you have a business that's already built around those two products and you're already offering those to customers?
Yeah. So what I offer currently right now is like brand identity and some brand strategy. Usually a website is at the core of it. They come in and they say, hey, you do websites or you do logos? Can I have that? And I'd said yes, but then I kind of sit down with them and just figure out exactly the best possible logo based on what their business is, based on what their customers want. But I also want to then really get things sustainable to where I can shift over to something that's reoccurring in revenue and offer like the social media marketing. Because it's one thing to say, okay, yeah, your brand looks good now, your website looks good now. How do we get more eyes on it? How do we get more people coming to you? That's where I'm wanting to now incorporate those features,
other strategies. Right.
Yeah.
So here's my advice then, man. It sounds like you already have a solid business foundation as far as providing content, providing brand identity, design, things like that. So what I would do is start with building processes just for all of those tasks. So when I build a logo, what's the step-by-step process? Who's involved? What middle ground do I need to, or not? Well, yeah, what middle ground do I need to cover to make sure that everything is fulfilled? When a website comes in, when brand identity comes in, what are the steps to complete that? And not only that, what do I do on the month-to-month, on a month-to-month basis outside of the, one-time jobs, the setup jobs, stuff like that? What do I do on a month-to-month basis to get all of those processes built? Then when you get done building out those processes, learn the other stuff like SEO, ad management, email marketing if you want to get into that, stuff like that, right?
Yeah.
Then once you learn it, build your processes. Again, the biggest issue people make in this industry is they learn something like this and then they go out and they try to immediately start selling without taking into consideration everything that has to happen after I land that client. So yeah, learn the other stuff after you build your processes out for what you currently know, then move on to learning the other stuff, build out processes, find VAs that you think would be a good fit to put in place, and then start offering the service. But don't put the cart before the horse. That's the biggest issue, biggest mistake people make is they try to go out and get clients and don't realize everything else you got to do.
No, no, no. Agreed. And that's pretty much where I'm at right now. I'm trying to learn now social media marketing, SEO, and then once I feel like I have a grasp of that, then figure out how to implement it, and then go out and or at least and then offer that after.
Right, right. Kashif, welcome, man. Did you have a question that you wanted to ask as well? If so, feel free to unmute your mic now and you can ask that question. But if not, I'm going to go to another question inside the chat real quick. Let me see here. Where was I at? A lot I've learned from watching your videos. I'm trying to soak up as much knowledge as I can. Oh, Kashif, did you have a question?
Yes. What did you think? What do you think about Wix Web Builder?
I'm not a fan.
Okay.
Reason why is because anything where it's, I can't even say heavily block builder because the site that I do recommend is technically a block builder, but I don't know how much you know about coding, but essentially people make scripts that you can plug and play. So basically if I needed, a pop-up to come up on the home page that had a specific action, that's, it's a pre-coded text that all you do is literally copy paste it in, right? Mm-hmm. So the issue with Wix that I found is their source code just isn't good. Whoever developed it didn't develop it for search engine efficiency. And when I say that, what I mean is that as far as performance is concerned, if I put that into performance insights on Google, it's going to return a much lower score than if I were to use a platform like WordPress or Duda, which is the platform I recommend using, to do the same job. So I don't recommend Wix for that. Also, the SEO capability on it is kind of limited, in my opinion. There are certain things that you can do using a site builder like Duda or like WordPress, that you can just get better benefit from. But really, it comes down to performance of the site, and Duda or WordPress easily outperforms those two companies, or outperforms Wix.
Okay, because I looked into Duda after I think it was last week's class, and then Wix advertisements just started popping up all over the place. I was like,
Yeah, and that's just a good ad campaign, but doesn't always mean it's a good product, right? So, and that's something you guys got to be careful with too, and it's something that I had to learn in my journey as well. Is just because you see something that looks enticing or that looks like it can help your agency, man, I'll tell you, 60% to 70% of the time, it ends up being something that's completely useless. I saw this one funnel builder product. It was like $67, and they've been selling it for $67 for like a year and a half. But apparently, you're never going to be able to get it at that price again. I'm just like, well, it's a year and a half later. I can still get it at that price. Anyways, I got it just because I wanted to see what it was like. Because as far as building ad campaigns, something like that could be useful. Just didn't end up being the product that I thought it was going to be. And really, I don't really want a flow builder that just builds flows. I need a flow builder that I can almost attach to ad management platforms. So like if I build an audience inside of this flow builder, I want to be able to take it and instantly translate that over to ads manager on Facebook, right? Like I feel like that should be instantaneous. I shouldn't have to take it and then go over to Facebook and then rebuild it over there. So point of the story being, it may look pretty, but it's not always something that you want to buy. So point in the story or lesson of the story, do your research for sure. And don't just do the top level stuff like look at reviews from people, because that's horseshit. Go and look at some blog content of people who you can trust, right? Make sure that there's someone who's got experience in the industry and see what their thoughts about using the platform were.
Okay, because I realized that because I actually started to do my research on it, and I've noticed a lot of people are moving away from it and going over to WordPress. And I actually saw on Upwork, like if I go into Upwork and type Wixen, people will be asking for programmers or web designers to move the website from Wix to WordPress, and I've actually saw one person moving it over to Duda. So yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I figured out.
Yeah, and here's what typically happens with web design or web development platforms. Every website or every product like this runs on a server, right? So it's like when you get a brand new video game comes out and everybody's on it, so it just keeps crashing, or it's really slow to connect, or you can't get it to perform the way you want it to perform. Same type of situation happens here. People find a good web development platform like Wix, originally was when it first came out, because it was one of the first templated builders that even if you didn't know how to build a website, you could get on there and do it. So everybody flooded to the platform, bogged down their servers. So that means everybody's performance as a whole who's running through Wix is going to be affected. And that's it's happened to server companies like Bluehost used to be an amazing hosting company, and over the last couple of years, they've taken on so many customers because of that great record that they had that it slowed their service down. And now it's not seen as one of the best hosting platforms. There's other ones out there that are a lot faster, So yeah, it's a complicated thing, but I would not recommend using Wix.
Okay, I'll look into Duda.
Check out Duda. I think you'll like it.
That guy had something to say.
Yeah. So
He said
yeah,
something about Webflow in the chat.
Yeah, that's right. Personally, I use Webflow. And if it weren't Webflow, I would export all my stuff from Webflow to go into to WordPress. Um, the thing about Webflow is that it's kind of a CMS that's made. I don't want to say specifically, but it's made with designers in mind. Meaning that if you struggle with code or HTML or CSS, you're still actually set up with Webflow to create like a nice, clean written code. You don't have to worry about the excess of like plugins and stuff that you do with WordPress and having to update and everything. It allows for you, and like for me, like one of the things that I pitch is that I don't build from templates, and Webflow allows for me to do those custom designs. I have them go out and look and figure out really like the style of a website that they may want. They may say, oh, I saw this template. Can we use this template? And I have to let them know I'm not going to use a template, but I can, if there's any functionality in that template that you want, I can implement it into Webflow. But I start the design from scratch, usually because I go through a process to figure out more or less about the company, the brand, what it should look like. And that's where it gets a little iffy trying to customize some of those templates. I don't know if you've had like some issues trying to get in and mess around with the templates.
Yeah, when you mess with a template, you're messing with, it's called source code. And the
Yes.
source code is the original code that they built for that template, right? So yeah, anytime you go outside of those boundaries, now you're basically getting into that custom framework. And so you really actually have to know not only the design aspect of coding, but you need to understand the logic side as well.
Exactly.
And if you can't work both of those, you're screwed.
Exactly. For me, that's the great part about Webflow is that it doesn't let you do things haphazardly. Like you still need to have a basic, and I mean that basic understanding of HTML and CSS, box models, and everything. Because while it is drag and drop, you won't be able to do anything again like haphazardly. You still need to keep a certain amount of consistency with your design and how you lay everything out, so that it's still at the end is writing nice, clean, responsive code.
Right.
And it helps avoid having to then try to fix something that was originally set this way to now do something else that it wasn't intended to. So, in doing your research, include Webflow into that just to see if it might work for you or not.
Yep. And here's the other thing, Kashif. I don't know what your web development or design experience is, but one thing you guys have to really understand, and this applies to not only web design or web development, it also applies to ad management, it applies to SEO, it applies to email, copywriting, graphic design, photography, videography, whatever in the industry. If you are not a complete expert, you shouldn't be providing that service yourself. You should be hiring someone to provide it, right? So really, you should, and again, unless you're wanting to learn web design and development, then I wouldn't recommend spending any time actually getting into the platform, because there's no need. To understand web marketing and web design and web development from a high level perspective, you need to understand how websites should look, how they should perform. You don't need to be a web designer or developer to be able to do that. I don't know how to code well enough to be able to go in Wix or any of these WordPress, any of that, to actually go in there and build it myself. And I'm not going to waste my time trying to learn, because that's the biggest, that's another big thing people do. They waste their time trying to learn a skill set, which is only one out of the 50 skill sets that are required for digital marketing to work as a whole, right? As a unit. So don't spend time learning how to develop a website. Spend more time understanding what a good website is and what a bad website is. Like, that's really what you want to be. You want to be able to look at a website, and sometimes you do have to look inside the code, but you don't have to understand how to code to be able to look in the code and say, okay, here's an issue, right? So that's the thing, man. Don't get too deep into that rabbit hole, because otherwise you're going to waste a lot of time doing something that isn't going to add to the bottom line of your business. Really, again, focus on strategy, focus on how a good website should perform, what it looks like, what functionalities it has, and then understand some things about what a bad website would look like or how it would perform. That's really what I would say. So we got a couple questions over here in the chat I'm going to get to real quick. First things first, no, the coronavirus will not affect the industry because it just won't, guys. Like, seriously. And the other thing about it is, apparently coronavirus can't live in temperatures that are above like 72 degrees, 76 degrees. So literally by the time the summertime comes around, it'll pretty much get knocked out by the weather. Also, it's not as big of a deal as what the media is making it out to be. Yes, it is a deadly, fatal virus that you can catch, but it's really only fatal if you have a lung disease already, if you're old, or if you're a baby. So if you're neither of those three things, stop worrying about the coronavirus and live your life. Like, people are freaking out over it, and it's for nothing. Yes, it is affecting stock markets. Yes, it is affecting trade. It's affecting commerce and travel. Like, I'm going on a cruise at the end of the month. They're giving me an extra $150 in credits towards alcohol for the trip, because like people are like canceling their cruise trips and stuff like that. So yes, it is going to affect things. It will affect some industries, but businesses still need marketing, and they're still trying to make money. So at the end of the day, they don't care if there's a coronavirus, a Heineken virus, or whatever kind of virus. They're going to still be reaching out to you guys. All right, I promise you that. Let me see here. What was another question? I guess you get this question a lot. What tips would you give to a guy who wants to start an agency at 15? You're a youngin', but that's not a bad thing. It's not necessarily a good thing, other than the fact that you have tons of energy and tons of ambition, because you haven't really lived life yet. You have so much life to live. So that's a good thing. The bad side is people are going to perceive you as young, right? So really the biggest thing that I've noticed with the young guys that are successful, they know what they're talking about. They don't walk into a room and start spewing bullshit out of their mouth. They're actually talking about stuff, and it makes sense. They're confident. Your confidence says everything about you when you're trying to sell, when you're trying to build a business, when you're trying to manage people. If you don't have confidence, they're not going to trust you or believe in you, right? So they're not going to buy into you. So the biggest thing that you have to learn really is, number one, learn digital marketing thoroughly, and don't spend 2 months on it like everybody else does and say you're an expert, because you're not. Spend real time on it, learn digital marketing, truly learn digital marketing to where you can talk to an expert marketer at least about it and understand the conversation. And then the second thing is really just working on confidence, because a lot of young people, I know myself, I struggled with confidence when I was a little bit younger, especially not in a social setting with my friends. But like with older people and me trying to voice my opinion about something when I was younger, it was harder to do, right? Because older people don't want to listen to kids. You don't know anything, apparently, which is not always the case, right? There's actually a lot of smart kids out there. So confidence is the biggest thing, but also just know what you're talking about, because people will be able to see through the fact that if you come out there and you just start spewing shit and they know more about that than you're going to make a fool of yourself. So I think that's one of the only reasons my channel still exists, is because not only is there, I mean, there's not a ton of people in the industry who can really talk about it at length, but people would have called me out by now if I didn't know what I was talking about. And I have never actually had someone come on to any of my videos, blogs, anything, and tell me, you're stupid, you don't know what you're saying. I've had people be mad because they didn't make money like I told them they could, and I'm just like, can't help there, guys. Let me see. Best place to find contractors and hiring a team. I personally use two platforms, Upwork and FreeUp. Those are pretty much it. Well, I lie. Actually, what's becoming one of my favorites is Facebook. Facebook groups are amazing for finding contractors. So just go on there and type in copywriter group or copywriting into the chat or into the search bar, and then filter by groups. Dude, you'll find 15 groups where people are in there and they're copywriters, and that's all they're looking to do. And it's easier to manage, not easier to manage, but you get a better deal because on Upwork, they're taking 25% of that transaction that you go through, right? So if you spend $100 on them, Upwork's taking $25. Whereas when I do it through Facebook, they get the full 100, so you can actually get them to sign on at a cheaper rate. So huge benefit there. Anybody else? Is SEMrush a brand new thing? No, SEMrush has been around since I was in Jacksonville, so at least 2014, but I know they were well established before that, so I'd say probably 2012, 2010 at the very latest was when they were established. But short answer is no, they are not new. Don't live your normal life, stay inside, don't travel. We got someone who's saying not to travel. Christian, what's going on, man? Welcome to the group. And again, guys, if you guys have Zoom, you can create a free account. It is a free account, like completely free for you to create and hop on this call and ask me questions. Christian, since you just hopped on, I'm going to let you take over the mic for a second. Your mic isn't on currently, but if you want to turn on your mic and ask a question, you're more than welcome to ask one now. JC made it home. Glad to have you back. And again, if you have a question, since you didn't get to ask one earlier, you're more than welcome to turn on your mic. I had a client back out when I told them they need to have their card details on Facebook. Thought it was some type of scam, and I lost them. Mr. Know-How Guy, did you send them a credit card authorization form? Because I'm going to bet that's why they probably shut you out. Anytime in business, when you are going to be using someone's credit card or spending on their behalf with their credit card, you have to legally actually get them, at least in the US, get them to sign a credit card authorization form. And this is them giving you permission to use their credit card. Also, you should give them a copy, and it's good for them because if anything does happen where somebody stole some money from them, they feel more comfortable because then they can go to an attorney with that information. So I've never had that issue, but I also set expectations the right way. And that's a big thing in sales. If you don't set expectations properly, you're going to lose the sale. So biggest thing is I would try to reach back out to them and salvage it by saying, look, I'm going to have you sign a credit card authorization form. And this signifies that you're giving me permission to use your card on your behalf. We'll set rules because you can actually go on Facebook and set up rules so it won't spend any more than a specific amount. So you can show them the rules that are set up so that way it won't spend anymore. And that usually does the trick. But if you have something, if you just try to ask for their card, I would probably feel the same way too. Christian, you had your mic on earlier. Sorry, you can go ahead and unmute it now. But yeah, if you have a question, feel free to go ahead and ask. There you go.
Is that better?
Yeah.
All right, good. So I guess you were talking a little bit here earlier about when you get to the point to where you've got kind of a knowledge base down for some of the specific aspects of digital marketing, whether it's content management, whether it's ad spend, just on beyond. Well, what in your eyes is, I know you said when you feel like you can have a good conversation with somebody and kind of, be able to talk the talk, so to speak, in regards to when you feel you're comfortable. But I mean, sometimes that's kind of hard because how do you know that the people that you're talking to are experts either? I mean, just because they sound like they know what they're talking about doesn't necessarily mean they could be full of shit.
Correct.
I mean, and if you don't know enough, then how are you going to be able to, you know what I mean? I mean, aside from obviously watching your videos and be able to pick up on stuff like that, talking to, Joe Schmo marketer out there, you don't really know if they're going to actually know what they're talking about to feel like you're competent enough, I guess.
Right. What I can tell you is this, and if you don't mind, just when you're not speaking, guys, so this is going to be the rules and etiquette. While you're not speaking, make sure your mics are muted, just so that way we don't get any background feedback. But Christian, that's a good question, or a good point, rather. Here's what I've learned is, I mean, looking at where we're at in the industry, there are not a ton of guys out there who are teaching this, right? So what does that probably mean? It's something new that people really have just started learning. So I'm going to say that 90 to 95% of people don't really know shit. That's the dead honest truth. And the reason why is because it is still such a new industry to really dive into. Most people that are in marketing, they do have background in marketing. They understand general principles of marketing, but they're used to radio or print or TV. Sorry. And so, when you get to talking to them about digital, what I typically do is I'll talk to somebody, I'll get in the weeds about SEO. And I'll just start throwing out words like alt text, meta tags, meta description, and just see if they can even pick up on that. If they can't pick up on that, they probably don't know dick about anything. Sorry for my language, but that's just it frustrates me. It really does, because I hate seeing people, oh yeah, I know all about it. And then they start talking, I'm like, do you know what the internet is? It makes you feel like you're going back to the Stone Age, because they don't have a clue. So the biggest judge I would say is understand going into the conversation that 90% of people truly don't have a clue about what they're talking about. Really, the only guys that can say that they do, if you go into an office and they're like, this is our marketing manager, our director, you're going to be working directly with them. They know all about this social media stuff. If you ever go into an office like that, it's not even the fact that he said social media stuff. It's more about the fact that no one person who is hired on at a mom and pop type of shop these days is a all-around marketing expert. They probably know a little bit about social. They probably couldn't tell you the first thing about ad spend or how to manage ad campaigns. They probably couldn't tell you anything about actually how to build a fully comprehensive campaign, but they can tell you about how to post on Facebook, how to set up a schedule, how to create some cool images. That's not knowing digital marketing. So I just go into it already understanding 95% of people don't really know what they're talking about. If I walk into Coca-Cola and I'm going to meet the VP of marketing, I'm going to bet that guy probably doesn't know what he's talking about. But if I go lower down the chain and I meet the VP of marketing's digital marketing arm director, that guy probably knows a shit ton about digital marketing. So it's all about kind of analyzing the situation, just understanding who you're talking to. And what with businesses, when you're talking to the business owner or the manager or whoever you're trying to pitch a proposal to, just understand they probably don't know anything. And what I've learned is, and where a lot of people mess up is when you're trying to sell that client and they don't understand a lot, people tend to complicate things. And they go, they're trying to teach, like I teach you guys how to do digital marketing. And it's just you lost them at, all right, so we're going to use on-page SEO, and that consists of meta tags. You lost them, and you also lost the sale by doing that. So really what I've learned, over the last couple of years, and when I was back in Jacksonville even more, it set in over the last couple of years, is I just pretty much stopped talking about digital marketing, because they know what digital marketing is now. They at least know that it has to do with search engines like Google. They understand socials apart. They understand having a good website's apart. But if you go into the deep part of it, they don't care, and they're lost, and they're confused, and that is not conducive to a sale. I've actually gotten to the point where I try to avoid talking about digital marketing. I tell them a little bit about some results we've got in the past, what we're actually going to do as far as, we're going to make improvements to your website. We're going to start driving cold traffic using ad campaigns. I'll go high level with them, but if you try to go, so we're going to target these specific keywords, and from there we're going to create a list that we exclude. These are our exclusion keywords. They are so lost. They hear keyword and they're like, all right, what's the keyword for though? They don't get it, right? So don't lose yourself in all of that either. But yeah, to answer your question, yeah, a lot of people just don't know what they're talking about. Education is key. Jordan gives us more than social media marketing tips. Jordan also gives us good business tips for any business. Yeah, I try to keep it well-rounded, because that's the other side of this whole thing is people forget that they're running a business. It's not just like running the marketing campaigns and getting clients is one aspect of it. We talked earlier about operations and how important that is. You know, and what's crazy to me is how Ty Lopez can create a course and not talk about the operation side of things. All he had in there was, you need to build a team. Cool. How do I do that, bro? Like, I've never done this before, and you're expecting me to guess? So, you know, that's why it was so important for us to add that part inside. Even on DMS 1.0, which was our first time ever making a course, or really my first time ever making a course like that, we didn't think about it. But then after we had developed everything, I went back and I was like, we haven't really taught anybody how to actually use their team in this. Like, we taught them how to hire people and stuff. So then we went back and added in this whole section that was like, all right, so here's how you actually use a project management software. Here are the positions you need. Here's how to implement them across the project management software. But yeah, it blows my mind, man. People saying they know what they're talking about and then they can't even get it all right. Let me see. Hey, Jordan, is being 16 more of a disadvantage for me than an advantage? I've been learning for about a year, and I'm not sure if continuing with learning is the way or if I should begin my agency now. So again, I answered that question earlier with the 15-year-old kid who pretty much said the same thing. And again, I'm going to just reiterate and kind of sum it up quickly here. You can go back and watch the replay again if you want to see the full conversation. But it basically boiled down to, it comes down to confidence. And it comes down to knowing your stuff. So how comfortable, Frankie, do you really feel with the information that you've learned? Could you and I sit here, you and I together, and have a conversation about digital marketing and you be able to keep up? Or would you get lost? Because that's really, that's kind of the judge is you have to kind of say, okay, well, if I did go and talk to Jordan, could I keep up, or would he completely lose me if he got into the weeds on some digital marketing stuff? Sure, I might lose you on some stuff, right? But if it's happening more than it's not, that's where you have an issue. Right? So you really have to test your own knowledge. There's plenty of ways to do this, by the way. Google has free training programs. If you're wanting to learn about SEO, they actually have, I believe, a free SEO training program through one of their sites. You can just go to Google, type in Google SEO training or something like that, and look for Google's URL. But they have free training programs. Facebook has free training programs for ad management, business manager, like all of that. And you can use that to test your knowledge. And you should be. If you guys are trying to go out there and get clients, you have to test your own knowledge. Don't go out there and say, okay, well, let's try it now, and then fail, hurt your business because now you have a negative review. But not only that, you're behind. You've spent all this money, all this time, and now you have to make all that back up. It was on their own business manager, and no, didn't think of it. What? I had a client. Oh, it was that guy. It was on their own business manager, and no, didn't think of it. It doesn't matter if it's on their own business manager or not. You're the one who's controlling the ad spend. So that means you're the one technically putting the money on that card. So you still need the credit card authorization form. Seriously, guys, do not get caught or get in trouble for using someone's credit card and not having that form signed, because let's just say that person's an asshole and they didn't like your job as a campaign manager. If they really wanted to, and they're mad enough, they could easily call somebody and say, hey, I didn't give them permission. Then not only do you have to refund them their money and give them that money back, now you're also going to be fined by the government for using someone's credit card fraudulently. That is fraud. So please don't do that. You guys will regret it. You could potentially go to prison for something like that. So yeah. Let's see, JC, I believe that with technology, the playing field is level. You and what you do make the difference. Take small steps and test, practice, and review, and make adjustments as needed. Yep. And people always ask me, where do you practice, right? Where do I get practice? There's a few different ways you can actually do it. I would say that there are definitely some better options. Some of them are better than others. But two primary ways. Number one, if you've never tried drop shipping, I would say don't necessarily get into drop shipping, but maybe a product that you can sell with using e-commerce might be a good way for you to start testing ads and also make some of that money back if you find some decent products to sell. I wouldn't say go out and build a whole brand, but if you can find a product that can fit into a niche and you can just sell that one product and it's easy, cool, but you'll get some practice marketing there. The next best option, or really this is my favorite option is working with someone, you know, close, family member, friends, and then just getting them to let you manage their stuff, create stuff for them. And either, you know, you can tell them, look, you just pay for the cost. So for example, if you need to get some creative done and you're not a graphic designer, say, look, man, I'm not going to charge you anything. I'm not making any money off of this, but we need to get some stuff designed for your site, right? So you can say, all right, well, you just pay for this guy's stuff so that way he can get it created. I'll manage the project and tell him how I want it designed, right? I just need you to pay for the work. So there's ways that you can get around it too, where you're not coming out of pocket, because that's one thing you also don't want to do is come out of pocket on a campaign, especially when you're first starting. Your goal is to be making money, not spending money for other people or on other people. The Playapreneur. Yo, I love that name. The Playapreneur. All right, has a question. One of my clients is being significantly impacted by the coronavirus outbreak. I see certain opportunities to bounce back, but what kind of advice do you have for something like this? Playapreneur, what is the business? Because I can't tell you otherwise. Because that's the thing, there's all kinds of industries that are being affected by the coronavirus, but I would need to know what specifically, because if it's like, I don't know, let's say it's like a travel agency for people who want to go to Europe, you're screwed. Can't tell you anything because you can't fly to Europe. I believe it was either flights to Europe or flights to Asia. They shut them down. So that's the thing. It totally depends on the industry. Does anybody up here have a question over in the call right now? Unable to connect to chat? What? You better connect to chat. Anybody else over here have a question that they would like to ask? Sure, Kashif.
I just started your course on module 2. Do you think I should do like a video a day, or like how long should
Well, I wouldn't say a video a day because, you know, you've probably seen some of them are like 5 minutes long. Some of them are 30 minutes long. What I would say to do is set up a certain time block. All right. So don't look at it as I need to do so many videos. Look at it as I'm going to spend 2 hours today learning. And I'm only going to commit that 2 hours to learning. I'm not going to get on Facebook. I'm not going to look at Instagram. I'm going to sit here and I'm going to learn. That's going to be my only thing. I'm not going to talk to people on the phone. I'm not going to text. I'm just going to zone everything out and just learn. But time block it out. Did you have something else?
No.
Yeah.
I think I forgot what your video was on YouTube. The time management video, and
Yeah.
you were talking about you spent you said 3 to 4 hours a week. So I figured I'm gonna start doing that this weekend. I already scheduled a room in the library so I can go there for at least 6 hours. I'm gonna do that Saturday and Sunday, and then during the week I'll do like 2-3 hours.
Right. So the biggest thing is how you learn. It's not about the time you spend. It's about how you're actually spending your time learning. So again, biggest thing, remove distractions. But the second thing is, what is your method of learning, right? So when I ask that, what I mean is, are you an audio, a visual, or a hand type of learner? Me personally, I have to have all three to get it in the first couple of times. I was always great in school. Like I always made good grades, but I always struggled with retaining information. Right, so I had to sit there and dude, reading books back in high school and like middle school, I'd read the same line 500 times and still not comprehend it. Like because my brain is just so it goes everywhere. Like I'm constantly thinking about all kinds of different things. So it was hard for me to focus, right? So I had to remove all of the distractions. I had to stop thinking about everything else. Find a method, and what worked for me, dude, seriously. I literally started putting in headphones and listening to dubstep music because I didn't know there were no words pretty much. It was just white noise that I could put in my ears and not have any other distraction. And it was so loud that the only thought that I could have going on was the book that I was reading. I didn't have all those other background thoughts that were going on in my head. But I figured out a way for me that it was effective. I could sit there, put that music in. I didn't know the rhythms. I was listening to music I did not know for a specific reason. So I couldn't. Because when you listen to music, what do? You start singing, you start thinking about the song, right? So you have to put in, for me, that's what worked. I put in something that I didn't recognize, so I couldn't follow along with it, but it sounded good, it stimulated my brain, and it kept my brain off of all of those other things that I was trying to do. So my biggest piece of advice is this: find something to remove the distractions, and then watch each video, take notes while watching the video, and then go back and do it over again. Like if you have to take notes twice, take notes twice, and then look at your notes and compare. What most people are too lazy to do is that. And I'm not calling you lazy, but most people don't want to do that when they learn, but that is literally the best way to learn. Because you're going to see it from different perspectives each time, and then you're also able to compare what you learned the first time versus the second time, and you're rethinking about it 3 to 4 different times.
Yeah, that's what I started doing. I would watch your video first. I won't take notes, but I'll watch your video, and then I'll watch it again, take notes.
That's a good way too. I get that, because the first time some people just like to sit there and watch and listen and take it in. Second time they like to go through and say, okay, well, I have at least a base understanding because I heard it the first time. Now I'm going to take notes on specific things that really stuck out to me, right? So yeah, that's a perfectly fine way to learn things too. I just know for me, I have to do it like 2 times at least, and I have to write it at least once every single time. And then I'll read, as soon as I get done, I have to go through and read through it again because I'll forget. I'm terrible with retention for some reason. It's like my brain just has no short-term memory. That's why I suck at trivia. People are always like, Jordan, you want to go to trivia? I'm like, hell no, I hate trivia. I'm terrible at trivia. Like, I don't retain random facts.
That was my question. I'll let someone else ask the question.
Cool.
Thank you.
Yeah, sure. Does somebody else have something they'd like to either add or ask? JC says, Kashif, I've found in business that too many people are trying to get rich quick. Building a business takes work. You get what you put in. And that's what I hope a lot of people start to realize as far as the type of mentality you have to have about this. And I hate it when people like Ty Lopez, and you guys know who I'm talking about, the people who go out and make it into this whole frontward facing, money scheme, because it's not. It is not that easy. It is easy as far as it's easy to understand that using social media ads to follow up and remarket to people will drive results and get more sales, right? That's easy to understand. But actually implementing that for all these different types of businesses in different ways is where that becomes complicated. And you don't just learn this stuff overnight. Like running a Facebook ad probably has 1,000 different pieces and components that are involved just to get a campaign running that's an actual, functioning and positive ROI, ROAS campaign. So just to get into Facebook and say, okay, well, I can just go in here and set up ads. Most people don't even understand when you go into Facebook, you should be setting up ads that are labeled literally top of funnel, middle of funnel, bottom of funnel. So that way you know who you're targeting at what different stage, and you have, but 90% of people, they go into Facebook, they set up one ad and they're done. They set up one ad with one ad set with one actual ad. One campaign with one ad set with one ad, and they think that's running Facebook ads. And the reality is, clearly, that is not what running an effective campaign is. So, it takes work and it takes time, and you're going to suck at it a lot. Trust me, I did too. I sucked at it at one point. When I remember the first time I was actually in my interview to get the job in Jacksonville when I worked at an agency in Jacksonville. And I was in the interview and they were asking me, and again, I had some digital experience, mostly social, email, website content, right? That's really all I had done at that point. This was like in 2013. And then they asked me, they were like, okay, so what do you know about SEO? I was like, SEO? They said search engine optimization. And that word freaked me the hell out. I was like, the hell does that mean? I was like, I have no clue what that is. And if I would have just context clued it together, I probably could have got it. But I was just like, I was nervous. I was in this meeting, so it completely went over my head. But I remember having that feeling. And then I remember saying, okay, well, I got out of that meeting. I went home and I immediately got on my laptop and I was like, what the hell is this search engine? And I started looking into it. I was like, and I realized, I remember they were like, yo, we want you to get Google certified. And I was like, okay, do I have to learn all that SEO stuff? They were like, yeah, it's pretty much on the test a lot. And I was like, oh. Okay, so but I know what you guys are going through. I've been there. Believe it or not, I was in the exact same position. It just takes practice. It takes time, and it takes a commitment. Because that's the biggest thing is people get into something that's hard and they're like, oh, fuck it, I'm done. Where is your persistence? Where is that drive that you told me you said you had when you were telling me you want to make $100,000 this year? Those are the people that I don't spend my time on. If somebody's like, yeah, I can do it, I'm gonna make $100,000. They get to the first challenge and they're like, yeah, man, I'm considering whether I should even keep doing the hell. You've got one hard thing and you're already done. Like that's the type of person I'm not going to waste my time on because it's not worth it. Like to be an entrepreneur, you have to look at every single challenge, no matter how much it may suck, no matter how much you might not want to go through it. You have to look at every single challenge and say, all right, but I got to find out a way. That is literally all building a business and entrepreneurship is. That is all SMMA is overcoming problems and challenges. If you don't like solving problems, don't start your business because you won't make it as an entrepreneur, in my opinion. But that's just me. So guys, do me a favor real quick because I notice we have about 18 people on. Just do me a favor if you haven't already done so, hit the thumbs up button just because it helps the performance of this video. If I've ever helped you, it helps me out greatly if you guys do that. Also, make sure you check below in the description. There's a lot of programs that we have that people might not even know that we have. If you like this call, guys, that we're doing right now, it's a little bit different because I do a lot more on-screen training, but I host a call like this every single Wednesday inside of our mentorship program. And our mentorship program is only $10 a month. And again, you get 4 to 5 calls per month, just like this, where we do over-the-shoulder training. Like this week, we went into building a CRM flow and logic, building out logic for CRMs. So, if you guys are interested in anything like that, it is right below in the description. I believe it is. Did I put the mentorship program in there? I really hope I did. But also down in there is the Digital Marketing School 2.0. If you haven't checked that program out, I promise you it will be probably the best decision you make this year as far as starting your agency is concerned. We also, if you are brand new to starting an agency and you haven't really gotten into it that deep and you're looking to find a video or maybe a course that you can get to give you some insight as to whether you would actually want to start an agency, we have our intro level course, which is also it's only $7. And I believe it's like 16 videos, and it goes into every aspect of running an agency. So from the ads, social media, process management, hiring a team, it literally goes into everything, and it's only $7. And really, again, it's an intro level course. It's not going to have every detail about every aspect of SEO. That's why our full course is like 150 videos, not 16. So feel free to check those out if you're wanting to get involved at all. Also, the last thing I want to mention is that Done With You program is now live, like completely live. And if you want, we have a whole webinar that'll walk you through what that program looks like, what's included, what you get out of the program, how it all works, and how we're able to get you from going, instead of it taking you 6 to 12 months, it can take you 3 to 4 months. And you can already have your agency completely ready to go instead of taking a course, getting done after 4 months, and then realizing you have to spend another 4 months building out all those processes, finding a team and everything like that, building out your pricing, all of that. We pretty much do it all with you and for you. So if you're interested, again, all of those are in the description. I didn't put the damn mentorship program down there. I didn't do it last week, and I was like, I know I should, and then I didn't. So if you want to see the mentorship program, all you have to do is go to serialentrepreneur.academy. Actually, I'll just show you guys on my screen really quick so you guys can find it easily. Okay, so, and this is also the cool thing about doing these calls is I'll be able to do screen shares like this. So I'll probably set up some trainings. I wanted to do like a couple test runs of these Zoom calls before I go into it fully. But we can do screen shares and training and stuff like that. And so like if you guys had a client that you're working on and you wanted to know feedback about their website, you could pull up their website and show it to me on screen and we could walk through it. But let's go to my website, speaking of that. So all you do is you go to courses up here, you'll see building a digital marketing agency and the monthly mentorship program. Again, that's only $10 a month. You really can't get a better deal than that. It's like, I guess 50 to 52 videos per year for $120. I really don't think you can find a better deal out there than that. But we have come up to an hour, ladies and gents. So let me stop sharing my screen real quick. All right. I think this was a good, the time for the mentorship program, what we're doing right now, it's at 3 p.m. EST on Wednesdays. So what I'm thinking about doing though, is since we have so many people, like people have been joining it like crazy because of the amount of value they get. So what I'm thinking about doing is starting a second call, but doing it at a later time when people are off of their day jobs. So that way it's more accessible. That's the word I was looking for. Accessible for just about anybody who wants to get in. I don't know how I'm going to do it, whether I'm going to do like whether I'm going to do like 2 separate groups. You get in the afternoon one or the evening one, and that's how you join. Or if I just do both in the same group and you get 2 videos, it's just on the same training. Not really sure. Mr. Know-How Guy, yes, I have used Loom. I love Loom. It is amazing for training your VAs. Do you guys know what Loom is? Oh, what? Y'all don't know Loom? Let me show y'all something real quick. You're going to love this. So let's say I wanted to do a training. Loom is a Chrome plugin. I can just click it right up here. And it's going to bring up this right here so I can share my screen. Oh, it's not going to let me show you guys because I'm actually on, but I can do full desktop. I can do screen and cam only, and then I can start the recording. Then it downloads it to their cloud, and all I do is copy the link and send it to someone. Now they have a training video. This is how I train everybody on my team. It's how we do anything related to hiring VAs, hosting training. I've shot videos on this for the mentorship program before, for training people inside of courses. Like, Loom is amazing. If you guys aren't using it, definitely get on board with it. It's free too. Like, you can't beat it. Really great tool to have for free. But I think that's going to be it for tonight, everyone. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to post tomorrow. If you're not in the mentorship program, I'm going to post a link in the description of this live video. So I'm going to show you guys something real quick so that way nobody gets lost or misses out on the deal. I don't know what this ad is right here, but it's freaking me out. All you guys are going to want to do is go to my channel. And if you go to the home page, which is, you just type in Serial Entrepreneur, click the actual channel link, you can see right here all of our past live streams. So tomorrow it'll be right here. It's not this one, but it'll be right here. You click on the video, so it'll be this one. Go into the description, which is right down here. And I'm going to post a link for your first month free in the mentorship program if you haven't already gotten access to it. But I'm only going to leave that link there for tomorrow. So if you don't get access to it tomorrow, you don't get access to the mentorship program for free for a month. All right? I think that's a fair deal for everybody. So if you want access to that program for free for your first month, and let me clarify, you do have to put in a card to get in for free for your first month. So if you don't want to keep it past the first month, you guys got to cancel the freaking cards. I can't tell you how many people come to me, I got charged $10. I was like, yeah, well, you're on a subscription, dude. Like, what do you think happens? It doesn't just say, hey, do you want to pay this? Or do you feel like just not paying it and we'll keep you in the group? People drive me nuts with that. Anyways, so yeah, we're going to post that link in the description. I'll do it at the very top of the description so it's easy for you guys to find. But it'll be up. I'll have it up there before noon tomorrow. So, and then I'll leave it up until noon on, that would be Saturday. All right, so you guys have 24 hours to get access to that. And it's a free month. So come check it out. Join us, have some fun with us on Wednesdays. And even if, the cool part is, even if you don't have time to make the actual meeting, when you join the mentorship program, we have, I think there's 8 training videos already in there that you get access to immediately. So that's a huge benefit. You get 8 of our best trainings. And then if you miss the live stream or you can't make it, we put the recordings inside the live stream, inside of the course. So you can go in there and download it and save it for later. So huge benefit. Even if you can't take part, there's still training that you'll get to benefit from. And you get to save it for later on. So. But that is it for tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Everybody who hopped on the Zoom call, again, thank you so much for doing so. I think this was a great way to communicate with you guys and get a message across to where we could actually have a conversation about something in depth and it not take 30 minutes. Yeah, not a problem, guys. I'm glad you guys were here. And again, guys, if you're wanting to join us next week, I'm going to be doing this again next week. Just go download Zoom on your phone or on your computer. It is free to download. I'm not trying to make any affiliate off of this. I don't get anything from it. Just go download it. It's free. And then I'm going to host the call like I did tonight. And in the chat, I'm going to post the link to next week's call. And then you guys can hop on as well and have some fun with us like we all did. So that is it for tonight, ladies and gents. I hope you all have a great rest of your week and a great weekend. And I will talk to you guys next Thursday at 9 p.m. EST. But until then, guys, Serial Entrepreneur out. Have a good one.